We're going to talk a brief moment about our rock hard 4x4 Boatside sliders. Now they come in two different styles, a tread plate and a smooth plate. Now if you're looking for a good step, but if you're looking for the ultimate slider for your Jeep JK, this is the one for you. This slider is probably one of the strongest sliders you can put on your vehicle. It mounts to the side of the body, but it tapers all the way down to the frame and mounts to the body bolts also. These sliders were the first to offer the opening for the high lift jack. They were also the first slider that tapered all the way down to the frame in the marketplace. These are well built, they're built in America, and if you're an off-roader and you're serious about it, you're going to want the rock hard 4x4 slider. Right now, let's go ahead and show you how to install these on your Jeep JK. Now, what we have with this hardware pack is we have a couple plastic plugs. These go in the end of the rails, which we'll show you. Alongside, after we put the nut inserts and the bolts in, we have these plastic plugs that cover the holes up. These are the bolts that go into the nut insert, which is here, okay? And what we want to talk to you about is to install this, you're going to first remove the factory body bolts that go down the frame. On a 2-door, there's 2 of them. On a 4-door, there's 3 of them, okay? And these are the bolts here. You're going to go remove those. We're not going to be reusing them. On a 4-door, there's a series of 3 spacers, okay? And these spacers go in between the rocker guard and the body bolt mount, okay? The front bolt on each side gets the shorter one, and then you have the longer ones on the rear, okay? Now, to do the installation of this, you will have replacement bolts that are going to go up through the rocker guard and into this spacer. So what you do is you put the bolt through the rocker guard with the spacer on the top, and it really helps to have somebody else here to help you hold the rocker guard in place. I want to talk to you a little bit about how to do a nut insert and how to put these rockers on. Once you do the 3 body bolts, and you're going to pull the rocker guard up, and the rocker guard is going to come right up to about right here on each side. And you'll see that in our video as we're doing the install. You'll also notice that the rocker guard is going to actually touch the factory wheel well flare on the front and on the back when it's fully up all the way. The biggest thing is lift on the outside as you're bringing the bolts up from the body down below. Once you get it up in place, you can take a high lift jack or a bottle jack with a board and just hold it up in place. What you'll do is you're going to take a Sharpie marker, which is not included in the hardware kit, and you're going to mark going down the side of the body where all the nut inserts go. Using a unibit, but it's also called a sheet metal bit. And the nice thing about it is it is included in the hardware kit. And this sheet metal bit, what you're going to do is you're going to drill the body so that it comes to the size of the nut insert right here at the largest space, okay? And then you'll push the nut insert in, okay? And then it comes with this tool. And how this works is this tool is going to thread into the nut insert, okay? And you're going to tighten it down, and then you're going to use an Allen wrench here and a 9/16 inch wrench here. And what you're going to do is, nut inserts, what they're going to do is they're going to pull as you thread it, and it's going to tighten down on the body itself here. Okay, and we'll show you as we do this along the installation, but I want to clarify that you use a 1/4 inch bolt, a 9/16 wrench here, and then it goes into the nut insert. Now, something to keep in mind is, if you do strip the end of the bolt out, you know, you can get it out with vice grips, but it's good to, if you have to, just go to the hardware store and get a replacement if you do. We've actually did it before on an install where we stripped the bolt out and just had to go get another one. It's a 1/4 inch bolt available at any hardware store. So after you've installed the nut inserts, you'll actually bring the rocker guard back up in place. You'll put the bolts going down, which are these here, okay? You'll go ahead and tighten those down in place, and then you will go ahead and finish your installation by pushing the plastic plugs in. And now we're going to go ahead and show you how to do this install. Step 1 is to install the rectangular plastic plug in the end cap. Okay, you can go ahead and put the bolts through the rocker guard and put the spacer on. Makes it a little easier while you're putting it up in place. So the spacer goes on the top side of the rocker guard with the bolt coming up from the bottom. As you're laying underneath here and you get the rocker up in place, with the spacer on the top, go ahead and tighten the bolts by hand. This will actually hold the rocker guard in place, and it can hang down on the outside until you get something to brace it up. Okay. Now go ahead and take a 3/4 inch socket and go ahead and snug up the body bolts as you're lifting on the outside of the rocker guard. Now something to pay attention to, you'll notice that it's really close here, but we're down here, and if you look at the factory fender foil, we have a gap here. So what we're going to want to do is put a jack here and raise this up a little bit until this is touching here and our gap is the same between both doors. We're going to go ahead and use a high lift jack here to go ahead and pull the rocker all the way up so that it is touching the wheel well flare. Now this is already one of the benefits of our rock hard 4x4 sliders are the opening here for the front of your high lift jack. Now, if you notice, we're right up against it, our body line is all the way up, all the way down, all the way to the front. This is what we're looking for. Now I want you to go ahead and take a Sharpie and mark the holes going down the body so that we can go ahead and drill for our nut insert. Now that we've held the rocker guard up in place where it's supposed to be, we're going to take a Sharpie and go ahead and mark down the side of the body of where we're going to install these nut inserts. This will tell us when we lower the rocker guard, we'll know exactly where to drill. Now we're going to go ahead and lower the rocker guard down so that we can drill the body to install our nut inserts. We're going to release the pressure with the jack, and then we're going to loosen the 3 body bolts going down. Now we're using a 3/4 inch socket. We're going to go ahead and bring the body bolts not completely out, but you want to bring them so that it allows the rocker guard to drop down. So you want just a few threads in there to hold them. This will allow the rocker guard, as I loosen this front one, to drop down, which will allow us access to go ahead and drill the body. We're going to go ahead and drill the body. We want to drill the body just so the nut insert passes through. Now, I know some people are a little afraid to drill the body of their Jeep, but with the rock hard 4x4 slider installed, you're going to protect the whole underneath area of this Jeep all the way to the frame on this side, on each side. What it'll do is when we put this here, you're gaining so much strength and then also go into the body bolts, which is actually kind of going to the frame, but the reason we go to the body bolts is you have to have a little bit of give between the two, the body and the frame. This allows the body mounts to be rubber and allows it to give. Now, drilling the body is really not a big factor here. All you're going to do is, this is called a sheet metal bit, and the reason we use this sheet metal bit is it doesn't actually pull the metal to you, it actually reams the metal. And this is why we use this style of bit, and it's included in your hardware kit. You want to drill it so that the nut insert just goes in, and that's a perfect fit. Some people will actually put painter's tape where they're drilling to mark it and stuff. And now we'll go ahead and install that nut insert. So we're going to go ahead and put the nut insert in. Okay, we've threaded the 1/4 inch bolt in place. We're going to take this Allen wrench here, and we're going to go ahead and tighten this down. Okay, as you're tightening this down, you want to tighten it, you don't want to over tighten it, but you do want to tighten it down pretty good. Go ahead and release the bolt and remove. And repeat this sequence throughout all of them until you're finished. We found where there's a double portion of the body right here. This nut insert's not going all the way in. We're going to go ahead and just tap that inner body in just a little bit. Gave us the clearance we need for our nut insert. Sometimes people will take a piece of tape and put on the universal bit here, unibit it's called, so that they can mark to the diameter, so that when they're drilling they don't go past it and make the hole too big. Just make it so that it's large enough for the nut insert to fit in. Okay, now that we've installed all the nut inserts going down the side of the body, our next job is going to be to raise the slider back up. You want to make sure it comes back up to the wheel wells front and back, and at that point we'll go ahead and snug the 3 bottom bolts around the frame, and when we get it up in place we'll go ahead and install the 1/4 inch bolts through the rock slider into the nut insert. Now, don't over tighten the nut insert bolts. You want to just snug them down in place. As you're tightening down these, I normally use a 1/4-inch ratchet, as you don't want to over tighten the nut insert into the body. You can, if you really wrench on them, spin the nut insert in the body, and you don't want to do that. After you've installed the bolt, go ahead and push the plastic plug in place. This will cover up the hole and keep moisture from getting inside the rocker guard.